Hello, welcome back. This is Jacob, and today we are gonna be beginning a new narration and character voicing on the channel. Today in the form of the just released Dorothy's Vision side story in Arknights. And oh my god, it has been a while to wait for this one. Especially when you are like me and are very excited to read this one, because how could you not be excited to read through this one? It is Rhine Lab centric. Oh boy. But the period is over. The delays are done. The story is here. The memes will probably go away. But I am very sure that we will all find another thing to meme on very soon. Such is the nature of things. But before we begin, a couple of words to start this off. First off, let me just say as well that today's episode will be starting off yet again with another video that will introduce us to the world of Rhine Lab and their structure and who is essentially in control of what section. But before we do any of that, let me do the usual thing of introducing you all to all the things and the plans, how this is gonna go. So first off, to anybody new to the channel, and bumping into it through this video specifically, hello and welcome. I hope you enjoy your stay. If by the end of the video you new viewer and listener, or you old folks, wink, do like this video, please leave a like on it. It will help it in the algorithm, and if you're new specifically, consider subscribing. I would much appreciate it, and it would be nice to see the channel finally reach that beautiful number of 1,000 and have it finally be monetized. But now to the other stuff. First off, like I said, the video today will start with the introductory video that was finally officially posted on the official Arknights YouTube channel, which of course will be linked in the description of this video on top, so you can view it by yourself when you want to, and you can even skip it if you want to in the intro. It's up to you if you've seen it already, and go directly to the story. Outside of that, one other thing is the most important thing, and a thing I do usually say on a bunch of these videos at the start: do you need to know any prior knowledge? Do you have to know, pardon, any prior knowledge to the Rhine Lab shenanigans and story? I would say pretty much as to the majority of side stories in this game, no. If you do not know anything, you're gonna be fine reading through it. A lot of it will be explained through the story, and as per usual, if anything piques your interest during this story, there is a lot of material you can go through. I could actually also on top of it recommend to look up Frostbite's video that summarizes the Rhine Lab story so far, that Frosty posted just like what, 2-3 days ago, prior to this video on their channel. Personally, just to disclose it, I have not watched the video because currently I'm still reading through the Rhine Lab manga, and I don't want to spoil myself if anything in the in that video of theirs is being spoilery toward the manga, because I still want to read through it personally before anything else. I will watch it afterwards when I'm done with that one, but outside of it, I trust Frosty to summarize the story leading up until Dorothy's Vision here pretty well. So if you do want to go ahead and watch that before continuing with this, please do so. If you want to have your the blanks filled in, essentially. Outside of that, speaking of the manga, good transition there. Speaking of the manga, a bit of a shameless self-plug again here. I did recently start the narration and character voicing throughout the manga. So far, only chapter 1 is out, which is also based on the fan translation. And I say here specifically fan translation because, as I literally learned hours prior to this recording, the Rhine Lab manga has now an official English translation. Not the entirety of the manga is posted yet as of this recording, but the manga is being slowly posted on the official Arknights page. I will link that in the description of the video. So far, the only thing out is, as of this recording, is chapter 0. Chapter 0 essentially is just trailer in manga form. So there is not much in it outside of panels from across all of the chapters, essentially. So if you want to go ahead and bookmark the page and see when the manga is going to be coming out, feel free to do so. I did the same, and it's pretty much going to be the source where I'm going to be pulling the mangas for the next episodes in the narration series for that story. So good thing I didn't start cutting together chapter 2 yet. Let me put it this way. It's a very good thing I didn't start cutting together chapter 2 yet, because I would be very, very pissed. Jeez. That was like almost a slap in the face. But yeah, anyway. Final bit before we go into the story here is, once again, there is a bunch of Rhine Lab information out there, obviously. Most of it comes from and this, for anybody new, will sound very weird, but yes, it comes from the story of Mansfield Break, where we get a lot of Rhine Lab exposure during that story, even though it's a prison break story. So weird coincidence, but so are the Arknight stories, essentially, just linking and interlinking with other stuff out there. But anyway, there's a lot of character files, a lot of operator records, some of which I will try and remember to link in the description. Philopsis, for example, has a bunch that I already uploaded on the channel. There's a lot. There's essentially a lot. But like I said, you really don't need to know all of that stuff. As long as you maybe, like, it's a bonus, literally, if you know a bunch of extra material before you read through this story. Just read through the story, and we will see if anything piques your interest afterwards. You're pretty much good to go to figure out more stuff along the way. But yeah, like I said, before we begin, we will watch a certain little quick video that will introduce us to Rhine Lab itself. So, without further ado, how about we begin with that very same video.
Access permission required. ID confirmed. Joyce Moore. Request received. Start processing. Permission authorized. Welcome to Rhine Lab LLC internal database. Selecting files. File number X001. Confidentiality, business use. Loading. Successfully loaded. Rhine Lab LLC is based in Colombia and headquartered in the nomadic city of Tree Mounds. It is Terra's most renowned high-tech company, with operations in clinical medical services, biotechnology, robotics research and development, and many others. Rhine Lab consists of 10 business sections, with the components control section as the core of the company to lead 5 scientific research sections and 4 general affairs sections. Considered Rhine's central leadership, the current control of the components control section, Dr. Kirsten Wright, achieved her PhD in particle physics and co-founded Rhine Lab with Ms. Saria. She paved the path for quick expansion of Rhine Lab with her outstanding entrepreneurship and eager quest for knowledge. The structural section digs in depth into the structures and forms of the basic particles of living beings in Terra. It also conducts studies on how structure impacts the basic function of biological molecules. The director of the section, Aaron Parvis, is an expert in the field with research experience of over 40 years. He is a gentleman with extreme persistence in terms of research goals. The energy section studies and exploits orogenium, sunlight, geotherm, and biotherm as thermal resources. The section also researches the storage and application of all forms of energy. The director, Mr. Ferdinand Clooney, is confident and aggressive in his approach to gain resources and support for Rhine, which drives forth many research projects. The Originium Art section, core to the research of basic principles and application of Originium arts, is led by Ms. Dorothy Franks, being the complete opposite to Mr. Ferdinand Clooney. Ms. Franks is idealistic and determined to reach the goal of eliminating individual differences in talent of using originium arts. The ecological section examines the evolution of Terra's creatures and how it relates with the environment. Mulesys, the director, adds her liveliness and many times unexpected thoughts to the company's operation. According to private sources, Mulesys is a firm supporter of the control within Rhine. The scientific investigation section is Rhine's extended footprints in the vast world of Terra. The members cross the boundaries of civilizations in order to embrace and bring back the unknown. The section has currently set up a permanent research station in the ice field of northern Sami. Besides the 5 scientific research sections, Rhine Lab also has business section, defense section, engineering section, and human resources investigation section. They are respectively responsible for public affairs and communications, R&D and related personnel security, information disclosure, emergencies handling, mechanical design and robotics of R&D equipment, as well as human resources management. Rhine Lab encourages its staff to independently seek research interest and establish projects, and therefore has a deep you selected Lab 1 of Hayden Pharmaceutical Processing. You're entering confidential internal archive. File number C023. Confidentiality, highly confidential. Related archive, diabolic crisis. Case records. Hayden Pharmaceuticals, a Columbia-based pharmaceutical company, accepts investment from Rhine Lab LLC. Lab 1 mainly conducts originium implementation into living creatures. During the experiment, the subject Ifrit went out of control, resulting in a complete burn down of the lab and death of its owner Hayden Rant. The case was considered closed as a complete accident. Any public disclosure is prohibited. Rhine Lab instantly transferred the subject. The experiment was reinitiated. Defense Department Director at the time, Nastaria. Warning, illicit access detected. Permission denied. Exiting the database portal.
Alright then, and there we go. That would be our short little video introduction into the world of Rhine Lab. And essentially, on top of just seeing the structure of Rhine Lab and who is in control of what section, we also got a tiny little glimpse there at the end into what is known as the Diabolical Crisis and the origins of Ifrit. Essentially, an event that would pretty much lead into multiple Rhine Lab employees, well, leaving Rhine Lab and heading for Rhode Island. But anyway, before we begin, I kind of wasn't paying attention to it at the beginning, but when I was picking up rewards earlier for the couple of stages that I completed so far for just this recording, I noticed a funny little detail in here, and it is this little section, and I would just like to include it and say, oh hell no! Says, a research assistant's day starts at 8 AM and often goes to 3 AM the following day. It is repetitive, menial, and more often than not fruitless? Oh hell no! Whoever works there as a research assistant, just run. Run! I know it's an exciting place to work at. Look, I know that is pretty much what science is all about. You pretty much keep going and going and going until you either prove that something can be done and made, or it's not provable. But still, run! Anyway, sorry. I just found that interesting, cannot lie. So anyway, as to the structure of today's video and how much we are going to be covering. Essentially, we are going to be obviously covering the initial cutscene here on ST-1, and then the stories for stages 1, 2, and 3. If I am correct, this event has about 8 battle stages, plus the cutscene only stages, which I don't know yet, considering I haven't gone past 5, haven't even opened 5 yet. so I can't tell if there's like 3 of these or 2. Usually it's either 2 or 3, so whatever. But essentially, today we're gonna be covering the 4 things that I said, including at least the description of training stage 1. Pardon. And at the end, before we finish off, I will include the descriptions, but only after we finish story on stage 3. I will include, as per usual, the descriptions of enemies that we are facing across these 3 maps so far, because these are very fascinating enemies, and we will learn about them through through the story, and this is pretty much why I would like to wait until stage 3, until the story itself introduces them to us properly. But outside of that, let us begin, shall we? So, this is or rather, the cutscene for DV-ST-1, titled Retrograde. To some, the onset of orypathy is a source of dread. To doctors, it is a source of motivation. Let's begin. Hello, you've reached the office of Rhine Lab Control, Kirsten Wright. Miss Wright is currently unavailable to take your call. Please leave your message after the tone. Thank you. This is bad, Kirsten. I think I screwed up. I'll admit, the Colonel is smart. He caught on to my little tricks the last time I made a delivery. He's been all eyes on me along with Ferdinand's people. It took a whole bunch of clones just to get away here. Ferdinand's gonna make his move at Rhine Lab soon enough. I just know it. And the other directors have to fall in line. The only other option is to play dumb. Jeez. I might have nowhere to run anymore, seriously. I'm a little scared. Just a tiny bit, but you get where I'm coming from, right? Not to worry though, I'm still going to uphold our agreement 100%. Kirsten, I can't help but wonder, if she was still here, maybe we wouldn't... Miss Mulesies, I suggest you stop struggling. Your marathon from Rhine Lab HQ to the commercial districts wasted our entire evening. Let me guess you. That end for me. You'll always catch me as long as I'm somewhere in Tremounts. No, forget Tremounts. It'd be the same in any city. This is Columbia. The charges stick to lawbreakers, rain or shine. This is about me breaking confidentiality with the military, right? In which case, you should give me some time to call my lawyer, and not sick a cajillion mercs on me in the middle of the street. I'll say again, we're in Columbia. We don't operate by the books unless by the books is what we need. In other scenarios, we like efficiency. Alright, do I still get a little chat with Ferdinand? Maybe me and him can still straighten out this whole mix-up before it's too late? Nuh-uh, that's not in my orders here. Didn't Ferdinand hire you? Ferdinand Clooney might be your co-worker, but he's just a partner of convenience to me. I've got no personal stake in the Rhine infighting. Ecological, energy, I don't give a damn, and my employer doesn't care who exactly we're cooperating with. What we want is results. Rhine Lab provides the goods. My employer puts thought into their use. And your tiny little oops moment lost you the last ounce of our trust. If I said I didn't mean to, would you believe me? I'm a researcher, you know? I've got this habit of hanging on to test data here and there. Habit? You had all this time to think of an excuse, and that's it? I'm so sorry to tell you. Your fancy brand of charisma doesn't work on me. I'm given to understand Ferdinand warned you not to let a whisper of any of the testing leak before the government passed every bill tied to it. Your elven bloods stretch the expiration date on your good looks. That likewise ensures you don't form any forgetful habits. Right. And yes, there we have it. I don't think it was mentioned before, but yes, Muses is an elf. So, along the myriad of cryptids, Lovecraftian beings, and all the other races that this world has, let's put it that way, we also have elves. So I know we have Durins, but do we have hobbits? Anyway, pardon. You know I'm an elf. I read the files. I know who I'm working with. Part of my job, you see. So come, let's cooperate some. Whatever illusion you were going to concoct next, I'd be as useless as the last. Sheesh, I guess I really am cornered. I guess that's why you were stalling so long. You think you can dupe me? I'm not the brute-forcing type. I don't go off half-cocked. And I'm not one of your colleagues married to the lab. Got you. At this temperature, water molecules don't hear my call. Is this your art or some kind of special technology? Are you really free enough to discuss issues of science with me, Director Mulses? Sorry, but I'm tired of playing hide-and-seek, and I don't want any sudden acts of iced water getting my plumage or hair wet. You're no ordinary merc. Flattered. Now, you still have one last chance. Answer my question. Kirsten Wright, Rhine Lab Control, has spent the past several years buying up massive amounts of high-purity hard material from companies high and low. What kind of experiments is she running? Why are you helping Ferdinand if you and your employer care so much about controls tests? That's not the right answer. That's not an answer. That's another question, in fact. I don't have any of the answers you're looking for. Your file says you love using your blood-given abilities to toy with people. I'm a little surprised you turn out to be so loyal to the control. Loyal? I'm just looking out for myself. Oh, you're telling me you don't want this chance at all. In which case, Miss Mulses, our partnership is hereby terminated. Terminated? Terminate her? Sorry, You've gotta make it in time for Kirsten. (2:43 a.m. Overcast. Main district of Tri-Mounts. Tri-Mounts? Three-Mounts. Keep saying Tri. Sorry. Still waiting on your appointment, ma'am? She should have been here 10 minutes ago. I've never counted on her to be punctual, but if our last comms were anything to go by, she was the one desperate for this meeting. Maybe she backed out again? We all know the director of Rhine Lab Ecological prefers to hide the truth behind all those smiles of hers. I don't trust Ulysses. I wouldn't easily trust anyone choosing to remain at Rhine Lab at this point. But partnerships are built on more than just trust. Did you trust me the moment I first met you? The truth, ma'am. When I saw you standing outside my door, I almost went straight to the kitchen to grab a knife or something, and call the cops along the way. Good head on your shoulders. Still, Rhine Lab wouldn't use force to threaten a retired employee who signed an NDA. At least not while I was still in defense. A new message? Something wrong, ma'am? You look serious. Serious enough to give me shivers. Change of plans. Ulysses isn't coming. So, something happened to her, right when she was about to meet you? Erickson, I need a favor. What is it? Send the info I received to the local branch of this pharmaceutical company. Ask their operators to immediately inform Dr. Kalsit and the doctor. I know they've been in Columbia territory recently. I need their help. Also, yeah, just a quick side note for anybody, again, new to this narration style. Anytime the doctor's name comes up, obviously the game is using doctor and then your given name, or rather the name that you gave yourself in the game. For narration purposes, I always use just the doctor. Anyway, 5:11 AM, overcast. Test site 359, Three Mounds outskirts. Morning, Doctor. You're up as early as ever. Well-regulated circadian rhythm promotes stability of core data. Data? You mean psychologically, right? You always packed a special sense of humor. I pulled an all-nighter just to get these figures. Director Franks is gonna rag on me for this. Negative. Scenario inconsistent with typical behavior of Dorothy Franks. Is that supposed to reassure me? Thanks, but even if she lets it fly, there's still Director Clooney, and I don't want to go back to him. You are overdue for a good night's sleep, Helen. Elena, you know me well. You know we have evaluations next week. How am I supposed to sleep with an evil waiting on me? I can't lose this job. I'm still paying off my student loans. Sorry, I know I keep bringing that up. How's this sound? I'll raise your situation with the director once the experiment's over. Seriously, Elena, you're the only one in all of Energy who isn't terrified of Director Clooney. What's your secret? You've just gotta be like me. Spending every single day in the lab, making the director happy with every last thing you do? That's not realistic for me. Oh, right, I need to check in with Director Franks. Gotta go. See you. I made coffee. You want some? Excessive caffeine intake may aggravate oropathy, Elena. I hear you, but I still not about to give up my life for the word may. If the docs have had the final word, I'd be best off staying at Rhode Island with my sister. Same for you, right, Joyce? Medical wants your aboard long term. So yes, the one that we are selecting speech bubbles here for, I think the first time ever in the game, I don't remember this happening anywhere else, is not the doctor. We are indeed selecting the voice lines of Joyce Moore, aka Telopsis. Regulations state I must report back to Rhine Lab at regular intervals. Provision of medical services at this site is only a temporary assignment. Sure, just a few days and then you'll meet back up with Dr. Silence in the city, right? Me and Dorothy will miss you. Joyce needs rest. Work gets too intense here at the site. And you, Elena, if it wasn't for Ferdinand talking you up as his most outstanding researcher, I'd be on the case to kick you back to the city too. So you're here at last, Dorothy. Helen just went looking for you. You didn't run into her? Sorry, I wasn't paying attention. Seriously, you're gonna work until you faint, huh? Forget me and Joyce. How many days have you gone without sleep? I've seen the wrappers filling up your lab's trash can over the past week. Agrimnoptics, huh? Agrimnoptics, essentially medication for staying awake. The experiment's already in its final phase. I promised the participants I'd accelerate the piece so they can get back to their families sooner. Got me there. Who doesn't want this done sooner? Plus, as your assistant, I have to listen to you anyway. Alright, can I ask my beloved assistant to do me another little favor then? I can't be out of the lab for too long. I want you to courier these heat emitter modules to some friends outside. Heat emitters? We've been in the Barrens for over a month. Where do you buy these? Warning. Rhine Lab technological components detected. See? It took me and Joyce one look to know you made these with lab materials. The living fossils up in business won't like that. You might be director of Originium Arts... Arts section? Director of Originium Arts Director. That's a neat little typo. But that's not gonna change their tune anyway. I know how their minds work. And I know even better that you won't report something this minor to Ferdinand, or any of the directors for that matter. They need these things. It's been getting cold lately, and their huts weren't built to last. They won't keep the chills out. Dorothy, I've been wanting to say, don't you think you worry too much about them? They're pioneers, a team of them in Rhine Lab's employ. No pioneer's gonna hang around anywhere for long, let alone make friends. They're just a bunch of kids. Besides, I know what you're trying to say. You're worried about me. You're worried I'll feel empty once they're gone. That's my little assistant. Always so considerate. Don't grin at me like that. You're not my teacher, Director Franks. Elena. Fine, I'll do this one last favor. The very last one. Seeing as the experiment's nearly over.
Sir, we're all set. Sonny, sir? Huh? Got the heebie-jeebies? What? Nah, that's never been my style. You've been pacing laps around about the cabin. 7 coming up 8. I'm getting my mind in order. Lot of variables. What's coming up next? Sonny, I've been thinking, but are we really on the right track here? Them scientists in the dock, they've been plenty good to us, I say. I told you all already. One or two acts of kindness don't make a saint. Back in law school, my classmates loved to all that charitable business. You know, donate a thing of 3 to treatment zones for infected. Maybe join a campus debate for justice, for what they went through. But once I came to be an unlucky, ill-ridden son of a gun too, well, guess how many times they visited me? Yeah? Not a single goddamn time. A year back I went to borrow some money from an old colleague roommate. He worked at the biggest law firm in Max DC. Picked up the phone. Get this. He asked me who I was. Sorry, you were out deferent for treatment, so that's why the grad yearbook didn't have your contact. Most touching joke I ever heard, I tell you. Real band of bastards, huh? We've We've seen plenty of them ourselves, all of us. Once they're at a safe enough distance, it stokes their egos good to throw out a little benevolence, like they're feeding fowl, and makes a topic for their get-togethers too. You go on and guess if right this moment in the laboratory those respectable scientists are cradling their coffee cups talking about us, huh? Nobody minds doling out good intent, not until it costs them anything for real. Alright, boss, whatever you say. You seem to the most of us, paid it most mind. Your word is gold. This is the only way we've got. Nobody in the whole damn test site's gonna look out for us, except ourselves.
Come on, Joyce. Once I finish my coffee, we've got to get to work.
Medic! We need a medic!
You're one of the pioneers? You can't really just come in. You haven't gone through decontam yet.
Don't you have a medic or a doctor? Something came over Sam all of a sudden. He's sick.
Sick? Is it neuropathy?
Are you a doctor? You gotta save him. You gotta save all Sam. Save us all. He's been running like a kettle since late last night, and he's just started throwing up blood.
Please input the patient's location.
He's in the nearest hut. We did like you told us last night. Gave him some painkillers. Laid him down.
Understood. Initiating emergency treatment routine. Joyce. Apologies. Other tasks have reduced priority. I know. I'm not trying to stop you, even if we're shattering safety regulations. Joyce, I'm gonna go with you. You are not a medical worker, Elena. Who gives two cares? Remember, I took basic medical training too. An extra pair of helping hands can't hurt in a situation like this, right? Plus, I've gotta make this trip anyway. With my errand from Dorothy. Might as well be now.
Here.
Where's the patient? Out of the way. Every second counts with acute neuropathy, one said. But... Scan returned. No results.
Don't move.
Is that a nail gun? There are no cases of acute neuropathy onset in the vicinity. Sure aren't, Joyce. These are some healthy young men here. Wouldn't have the strength to be pointing dangerous tools at us otherwise.
Hands up, ladies.
You're the leader of the pioneer team.
You remember me? Admit I'm touch surprised.
Sir, why have you tricked me and Joyce into coming here?
I trust you know, Urbica. Dr. Urbica. That's how you say your name, right?
You pronounced it beautifully.
Thank you very much. A bit of self-awareness here. Gonna trouble you to lend us your communicator there, Doc. Pioneer team needs to ask your supervisors a few questions. Alright, and we continue the story onto stage 1, titled Three Mounts Streets. They cannot think yet. If they could, they would still pick up their weapons. And we begin with the before part. "3:56 p.m. Overcast. Main district of Three Mounts." Keep going into saying Tri-Mounts. This is the third time you've paged through Pelopsis' personal log, Doctor. Any new discoveries? Pelopsis keeps some detail-rich records. Ptilopsis has a kind of special chip implanted in her brain. Device number 9, Meyer calls it, guessing that Rhine Lab's internal codename for that tech. It's plugged up there directly into her nervous system, functions as a regular part of her mind, and logs data on neural activity in each region and lobe all the while. Which means you've just been looking at every last thing Ptilopsis' visual processors, her own 2 eyes, have been seeing. From the logs Ptilopsis keeps synchronized with us, we can tell that along with her, there's our other Rhode Island partnered operator, Elena, in Rhine Lab's energy section. Along with Rhine Lab Originium Arts section's director, Dorothy Franks. That's everyone caught up in this abduction by the pioneers. And practically simultaneously, Sari informed us Rhine Lab Ecological Section's director Muses went missing after she sent out an SOS, and there's no telling if she's currently alive or dead. Think there's an issue at Rhine Lab? At present, looks like it. Sky-high odds, Rhine Lab is already in crisis, if things are pushing Saria to ask Rhode Island for help. Lucky the land ships nearby, or else we'd be hard-pressed to make an expeditious response. The kidnapping's gone down at a news site about 100 or so clicks out from Tremounts, but Kalsit's concerned this has something to do with the experiments that got shut down a while back. What do they do at the site? The stuff they show to outsiders indicates it's your typical testing grounds, currently in the middle of construction. The Diabolical Crisis, Loken Water Tank, the Lumber Yard. Each name means something to one of our Rhode Island operators, and behind their fronts ties to hundreds of similar experiments. Most of these experiments have involved Originium's mutative effects on living being cells, and each one has been incredibly dangerous. In Colombia, more often than not, tech giants like Rhine Lab aren't going to participate directly in such high-risk experiments. They have smaller-scale organizations carry them out on their behalf, hire a pioneer team, construct a suitable site out in the wasteland fringes of the city to execute their experimental work. In this case, Ptilopsis is at Site 359, which is one of those. Have you done work at similar sites before? Work. I'm not gracing my time there with the word work. Those megacorps plagiarized what I created and applied it all in places it wasn't meant to be. See that billboard about 50 meters out? Volvort Koczynski's automatic popcorn atron for the home, faster, sweeter every time. I still have the prototype sketch for its original core on my terminal. It was supposed to be used in automatic wasteland road cleaners at first, but my manager decided it'd never sell as a product. He says, what kind of HR company is spending on better equipment for pioneers? Brought my mind to Rhode Island after that. Of course, our course clearer team is some sentences in this text are just our course cleaner team in engineering is using the very latest model. Also, apologize again, or rather in advance. There's gonna be a lot of words where I'm just gonna be stumbling over them because they are just they're killing my brain. Anyway, I've long seen it coming. Be it Volvort Koczynski or Rhine Lab, in the end, all these so-called tech firms are going to be destroyed by their own creations. Because they've never respected the creations themselves. What if Muses got killed by her very own experiments? Was that a laugh line, Doctor? Because what you said isn't sci-fi flick material or a dumb joke. Chances are it's tomorrow's news. Now I get why Closure admires and fears you. You mean her occasional stints as target practice for my new weapons? She can stop interrupting my work with her ridiculous ideas, and then she won't need to fear me. Done processing the intel, Doctor. This is as much useful info as we have for now. I've already set the most important files to top priority on lookup. You can read them via PRTS at any time. Any more news? Ptilopsis' logs have been updated past this point. Device number 9's data transmission should be more stable ever since Meyer adjusted it. So unless something physically happened to Ptilopsis... Fingers crossed Silence and Gray find her ASAP. Silence will notify us of any developments at the site as they happen. Saria has copied the info. She'll be rendezvousing with us in an hour. Doctor, any other proposals for the time we have left? Let's go to where Meusis hit trouble. Take a look. I'm a mechanist. I'm no detective's assistant. And I'm just an Originium researcher. You're the only one I can count on, mechanist. Alright, Doctor. In that case, we move now. Here's hoping I'm back on the landship by tomorrow, at my beloved workbench. So, before we quickly continue, this character, so far I think, got introduced only in one single place, maybe two, if I am not forgetting something. But the one place, Mechanist, and I hope this is how you say his name because that's how it's literally spelled on screen, is one of Rhode Island's elite operators. So he essentially falls into the same category as, for example, Shaw does. He's one of the elites, and he's one of the ones who probably everyone wants to have in their collection at some point. Maybe, please, HG. But yeah, he got so far mentioned, I think, once or twice. Once I remember from the main story, where he just randomly gets mentioned alongside other operators, but I think he's one of the people, if I remember correctly, who has been training Blaze, essentially, amongst others. But yeah, anyway, continuing. 6:47 PM, overcast. Test Site 359, Observation Station, 3 Mounds outskirts. Anything new with the people on site? Nothing, officer. You shot word to your director Clooney or whatever at Rhine Lab, right? When exactly will he be here? Director Clooney is in a meeting right now. Meeting? You're telling me he's still in a meeting? What kind of meeting is more important than his employees' lives? Damn it. Give me those binoculars. Okay. You don't think those pioneers are gonna follow through, do you? Let me tell you, they will. Push them enough, and they'll do any freaking thing. So you mean our colleagues at the site could be in mortal danger? Who are you? Olivia Silence, Rhine Lab researcher, and Rhode Island Pharmaceuticals partnered medic operator. This is my colleague from Rhode Island, Mr. Gray with the engineering department. Hello, I'm a Rhode Island electrical engineer, but I'm still interning. Look at our boy! He's all grown up! Sorry. Sorry. Initial reaction upon seeing him in the story. Just echoing what happened originally when I was reading through this. He's so grown up! Okay, I'm continuing. Rhode Island, what kind of useless crap does that company do? Forget it. Save the explanation. One day passes in 3 Mounds and a barge of fresh company names unloads out of the sewers. Gee, thanks. You're Rhine Lab, right? Got any pull in the office? Pull? Ma'am, I'm not too sure what you mean. Forget it. I knew you wouldn't be in charge. You strike me as one of those eggheads swimming in books types. Like the hostages they got. You guys and those guys might as well live on different planets. I heard they were the pioneers working on the site. Pioneers. The name rings too nice for anything except billboards. And I know better than anyone what kind of people they are. Convicts, gamblers, infected who can't stick the medical fees. Nothing to lose by the time they went out to the wastes. Excuse me, could we try and talk to them? You might have realized already, but Dr. Silence and I are both infected. We're in a place to understand their situation.
Rhine Lab makes stupid cash, doesn't it? So does Rhode Island, or whatever. You've got these, let's say, well-intentioned companies paying your insurance premiums. That's the key thing. That's why you can shut up about understanding them.
Premiums? Which part exactly is,
It's the way things work here in Colombia. A policy aimed at infected. Ma'am, please trust us. Rhode Island is a pharmaceutical corporation dedicated to addressing infected issues. Addressing issues? If I give you a crossbow and told you to square away those kidnappers from here, would you do it? I couldn't. I'm a doctor. What about him?
Me? No, I don't think we've reached a point where we have to resort to violence.
Is that the guy who went from caster to sniper, by the way? Then it looks to me like you two can't help much at all.
No sign of anyone coming, sir.
They're playing it cool.
Say, you think the megacorps might, care if their hires die? What with those two being infected and all?
Don't give me that. Infected aren't subhuman or nothing. At the very least, we don't wanna treat each other like that.
Alright. Set that on the Pioneer recruitment ads too.
Well, count our lucky stars that ads ain't all lies then.
Would you kindly drop the communicator, Dr. Urbica? He said drop it. No funny business.
Alright. I'm putting it down. Please don't hurt us.
Sir, she was sending messages.
Bring me those comms, Sam.
Slowly going to pick it up and slowly moving away.
Only half typed. Didn't get to send anything yet. These are our exact coordinates. You want them to send a drone in or something? Let me give you another idea. Change this to an SOS. Send it to your tutor, your manager, whoever. Tell them I'm waiting, and my patience is running out. What exactly are you after? Well, that's wicked simple, Doctor. Me and my friends here, we all just wanna leave this place alive. That's all. Director, finally you're back. Can you spare a moment? You're Ben. Ben from Structural. You remember my name? Call me Ferdinand. 9 whole directors at the Rhine Lab and all. Sir, Ferdinand. My next meeting is in 10 minutes. I can spare you 7 of those. Alright, thank you. Sir, do you know where Control is right now? I've got Structural's application for equipment purchases here. Control was supposed to give us an answer 3 days ago, but we haven't heard anything from her. Structural's having to suspend a lot of its experiments right now. Give me the form. Alright, go procure. Did you just sign? The handbook says large-scale equipment purchases this expensive have to go through Control. How long have you been with the Rhine Lab? Just a couple of months. Yes, sir, I reported in a month ago. See this site in front of you? Uh-huh. Isn't it monumental? 15 years ago, this place was still wasteland. Not even a single nomadic plate yet. You wouldn't see Rhine Lab on a fold-out of 3 mounts back in those days.
Meet Parvis for tea, if get the chance. You've got a lot to learn, Ben, and you won't find it in your handbook. Alright. Got it, sir. Well, look at that. I still have 4 minutes left.
Not often you call me when it's light out, Ferdinand.
God, I hope I'm pronouncing this name right. Holhayak. And just as a by-the-by, the name is apparently Mayan. Which I'll explain in a second. Are you done with everything I asked?
Mm-hmm. At least 3 empty seats for Rhine Lab's directors meetings today.
Oh, I just noticed. The game broke. Her portrait is not in the thing, it's just gray. Oh, this is funny. This is funny. Well, I cannot change it right now. Actually, hold on. Let's see if I can change it. Hold on. Alright, it is fixed. And the only thing I had to do is completely restart the game from scratch because, I don't know. I don't know what happened there. Just didn't load in, I guess. Anyway, let's continue from here again, shall we? Holy heck. Are you done with everything I asked?
Mm-hmm. At least 3 empty seats for Rhine Lab's directors meeting today.
No, that's not enough.
Oh, which director's next? Are you finally fed up with the old goat behind the chimeric organism experiments? Or do you want the dreamer at the test site to never come back?
Word is Rhode Island's people went to the site. The experiment's almost complete. I don't want anyone getting in the way before it's done. Understood?
You want me on the site?
No, no need for that.
How cruel. Your assistant's one of the hostages, isn't she? I saw that Elena girl once. She's as pretty as she is hardworking. I had a feeling you'd like her.
She's with energy. She can wrangle the pioneers. You keep an eye on developments in the city. It's unlikely Rhode Island would only send 2 operators to the site. Don't forget Saria's had a line to them all this time.
Oh, you're defense director again?
Saria's already stalled our experiments long enough. Both the Colonel and I are running short of patience. Remember, they can't find anything this time. This is the place, Doctor. The last message we got from Saria was sent from this alley. We aren't exactly near Rhine Lab HQ. Here to there is about a half-hour trip by car. Seems like Mulesys got chased here. If she wasn't being pursued, she'd never chosen to set foot in this alley. No matter who it was, acting in the open streets would have obviously been too risky. Silence told me about Mulesys' ability. Right. Search complete. Ability to manipulate water molecules. Would that be energy conversion type or matter restructuring type in terms of originium arts? No matter which principle it is, it's powerful at a glance. Water molecules. No flaws visible to the naked eye. Even more interesting, experimental research folks and us mechanists are alike. Our powers of observation are usually razor keen. If it fooled even Silence and the Mayor, then it's not your ordinary arts illusion. Mulesys wouldn't go down easy in a fight. There's a couple of scorch marks on the ground. Not very wide-ranged. Whoever did it. All signs point to some kind of technical equipment used to heat the air around surrounding Mulesys. Considering her arts are heavily dependent on water molecules, her opponent must have known her very well. As well as we do. You mean... there might be a Rhine insider too? Doctor, watch out! That was close. That was an energy weapon. Shot from deep inside the alley. Enemies only 30 meters away, meters from us, give or take. And getting closer. Doctor, you'll want to stay behind me. Defense systems active. Think we're in an ambush? Doctor, I've never seen this model of power armor before. It's new. Without testing, I can't tell you exactly how destructive any weapon hooked up to this could get. And by that, I mean we need a change of plans. Escape system active. Now get out of my back. Quickly before we continue in the after story, I think I forgot to mention earlier, but if I did, pardon, that it slipped my mind, but again about Mechanist. Apparently, from what I remember looking up about him, he is, I mean, you can tell already that he's race, well, you can barely tell it, but you can tell from looking at the horns on top of his head, plus the shapes that look like they are, like little nooks for the ears, plus the tail, all point to the fact that he is supposedly a giraffe. Which begs the question, in then where would he be categorized in as a, like, into any of the races of Terra? And I'm pointing that question out because in more so in ancient times, or rather upon I think the first discovery of giraffes in the past, the initial people who discovered them kind of categorized them as a mythical creature, essentially, because of their neck shape and stuff. And they were, I think they were called Killin. I think I saw that somewhere written about them, which is very interesting, considering I think we do have some Killin, right, in the game, or am I dreaming that up now and confusing it with something? But yeah, sorry about the sorry about that. I just wanted to address that very quickly. Anyway, continuing. I can't believe it. I had signal interference active and everything. Even Closure's own latest drone gen wouldn't detect our location. What sensory tech is this power armor using? Can you paralyze it? I don't want to draw attention. Hold on tight, Doctor. 10% power. Aim. Bingo. The armor doesn't give a flying f. Clear damage to right arm plating detected. No reduction in speed. Show no signs of slowing when hit either. Who is in that suit? Do they not feel pain? Armor doesn't give a fuck. Damage to left arm. Damage to lower right leg. Doctor, it's not reacting to the damage at all. If you want to stop it, I'll need to paralyze its power core in one shot. Come on, this makes no sense. Even the most well-trained soldier wouldn't have this much tolerance. You're right. By mere fact of living, no individual can wholly suppress their most basic nervous responses. A hand smashed through the power armor's core. Countless mechanical fragments burst out like fireworks, just as the blood of a fellow lifeform would. With no time to waste, the hand pulls out. The mecha fragments extracted by her sheer force turn into dust, together with the pure white plating covering her 5 digits. It all drifts down to the floor, where it forms a paper-thin calcium crystal layer. The power armor lies on the ground, the heat of its energy snuffed, a clean hole left through its torso. You pierced that power armor's core barehanded? That's a might of mights, and definitely a lot quieter than my defensive cannon. Doctor, looks like the Bureau of Originium whatever won't be taking us in for attempted bombing today. I do not want new criminal records for Rhode Island. Thanks for that, Saria. No need, Doctor. Mechanist. I'm the one getting Rhode Island involved in Rhine's internal affairs. I have a duty to ensure you don't come to any harm. Ferdinand was right on the money. Rhode Island's people have already found Saria. Should we maintain pursuit, ma'am? If I stuffed you inside that power armor just now, do you think you'd survive? Relax. Just a hypothetical. Ma'am, no matter how powerful Saria is, there's only 3 of them. We've got them way outnumbered and outgunned with our secret weapon. Underestimate the enemy at your own peril. Haven't you been around Rhine Lab enough to learn? The punier the scientist looks, the harder she might just polarize you. You mean that mechanist or the professor-looking one with the hidden face? They can't be stronger than Rhine Lab's defense director, right? Rhode Island, they've got talent for days. Let's go. I'm in love with that hypothetical just now, and I've got a few new ideas I want to try out. Good evening, Colonel. Clooney. Give me a rundown of what's going on at the site. Just minor boat rocking. You know how hard it is for pioneers to be satisfied, no matter how generous you get with their terms. Initiative is their strong point and it forms the basis of Columbia's endless expansion, but sometimes it carries with it a little hassle. So it's hassle. Unhassle it then. I want to see the results you promised, not Rhine Lab in the gossip rags. Remember, you aren't the only tech company in Columbia. Understood. Rest assured, Colonel. Rhine Lab's products will not let you down. Sir, got a whole crew waiting out of this now. They say your plan's hopeless, that nobody's gonna listen to us. We can try everything we want. We'll never get our voices out. They're also asking who cares what Rhine Lab's up to. Like, we just need to get this work done sooner, get our money, move on to the next place and keep going. As for the guys who went missing, well, their luck just ran out. The pioneer teams out in the deep waste see a lot more dead every year than we do anyway. I get it. Tell them to just hold on a little longer. I'll bring our people back. So what's your plan? I'm gonna head out for a bit. Out? Isn't that too dangerous? If the cops send sharpshooters, they might just be waiting for you to come out. Sounds like a good deal to me. What? You're keeping your head together, right? A police sharpshooter, right? Might just be an old friend of mine. Crack shot with a crossbow. If this is how it's gotta be, it's not gonna hurt too bad. Sonny. Dr. Erbica, Doc Moore. I need you to come out for a walk.
You can drop the pretense. Do we have a choice here?
I'm afraid not. Keep your chin up. Once the folks outside get to see the score, maybe they'll change their minds, open up to taking our demands seriously. Officer, we've got movement. Drones, prepare to fire.
No, hold your fire.
Officer?
We can't hurt the hostages. You, Dr. Silence, over here. Is there a development, ma'am? Take a look through the binoculars. Are those your two colleagues behind the Pioneer?
Sir, the comm lit up.
Give it.
Knew it'd be you.
I could say the same thing.
You made rank, right? Didn't get the chance to congratulate you. Who knew you'd stay at the precinct so long? You keep getting all these hassle from the frontier.
And I never thought you'd end up so depraved. You still remember any of the classes you took? You law curses. You still remember the shit you said to me the day I joined the force? That's great, we'll be partners again. It'll be just like all those games we played as kids. We'll protect Columbia's peace, bring the bad guys to justice. How's that irony? You're bad guy number one right now, right here and now.
Mary.
What's all that crap you boys are holding? Homemade weapons? Drop those things before you embarrass yourselves anymore. You degraded yourself this far, but you still have an option. One final option. Let those two innocent ladies next to you go.
No, that's not in the cards for now.
Damn it, you're inching over the cliff here. Sure, the government lets a criminal join the Pioneer if he doesn't want to do hard time. But if you break the law again out on the frontier, what charges does that buy you? Answer me, counsel.
Don't call me that, Mary. I'm begging you.
You're trying to guilt trip me. Yeah, I feel guilty now. Guilty I let you go when you broke into my house. I should have hauled your ass straight to the station.
That was a long time ago. I mean,
And only just...
I'm sorry, Mary. I've always been sorry about that. But this time I have a reason for doing all this. You have to hear me out, please. Sir!
What?
The dog, she... Doc Moore?
Configuration error. Entering power save mode. Oh, shoot. Joyce!
What's happening to her, Doctor?
You can tell. She's having an attack.
What? Is it a ripathy? Come on, I got her. There's drugs for her, right? I can't do injections. Come on, she looks like hell. I got this first aid treatment band from Rhine that Rhine gave us. This does something for ripathy flare-ups, right? I'll put it on her.
You're willing to give your own emergency care device to Joyce? If you hand her that band, your odds of survival go down significantly on the off chance you get a sudden attack.
The dog's been good to us all this time. I don't want anything to happen to her.
You say as the ones who kidnapped me and Joyce.
We never wanted to do you dirty. I'm sorry, we're just a bunch of selfish nobodies.
Are the comms still going?
Ma'am, would you mind giving me permission to talk to the pioneers? The Liberi experiencing an attack is my colleague and my good friend. And more important still, I am her attending physician. I want to gather her situation from the pioneers. Judging by their reactions, they clearly are concerned for her. Go nuts. But you don't have much time. I just got orders from on high. If the pioneers refuse to cooperate for another 10 minutes, we'll cut all comms to the test site, along with all the power to their living quarters. You'll cut the electricity? Day-night temperature swings are massive in the Barrens. They'll be freezing by midnight. There are several late-stage neuropathy patients among the pioneers. They need medical facilities to live. I know. That's what makes this a warning. They need to know how serious Rhine and the police are here. All their protests and demands have to be founded on legal basis. Once they take the criminal route, nobody's going to hear them out. But aren't you friends with that pioneer leader? Friends? The moment he abandoned himself, there was nothing left to say. How is she? Real-time blood crystal density is dropping. Eye movement indices are still highly irregular. Eye movement indices? Due to her neuropathy's focus lying in the brain, any fluctuation in her conduit condition will impact her nervous system, cause her to fall into deep sleep, and go so far as to trigger epileptic attacks. Huh? Who's there? The comms are still open. Hello, sir. I'm Joyce Moore's attending physician. My name is Silence. Doc Silence. Firstly, I'd like to offer you my thanks. Joyce's condition has only stabilized so quickly with your aid and that of the other pioneers. You're gonna thank us kidnappers, huh? In return, and please trust me when I say this, we really truly wish to assist you. We still have 5 minutes before your comms and power to your living quarters are all simultaneously cut.
Sir, we got a blackout.
It seems they've acted ahead of schedule. Don't sweat it. I gotta appreciate you being willing to warn us. I gathered from Ma'am and Mary that you'd like a dialogue with Rhine Lab's upper management. Can I ask why that is? I want to beg them to stop the experiments they're doing here. Do what? You're a good doc, same as Doc Moore here, but something tells me stopping a project this big is out of your hands. Can you tell the Rhine Lab boss that this experiment is seriously wicked dangerous? Sir, did you have any proof? Even if I did, would you believe me? A lone pioneer at the end of his rope?
Officer, we're all set. We can cut the site's comms at any time.
Wait for Doc Silence to finish.
But the director's demanding immediate...
Sorry, what police rank does your director hold? Remind me. Tell frickin' Ferdinand that saving people is my job. I'm not taking him on a ride-along here.
The director's been in contact with the commissioner, officer. They drew up this plan together.
Director Ferdinand? I never imagined defense would fall under Energy's purview. If Ferdinand feels that structurally is his to rule too, then would not mind resigning from Rhine Lab, effective immediately. Joyce! Joyce!
Is she asleep?
She's lost consciousness. If we don't get her treatment in time, she'll experience brain death before long. Sir, I am preparing to enter the site now. I understand your concerns. I would like to reassure you, I will not be carrying any weapons. Don't do anything stupid, Doctor. I know full well what I am doing. Sir, I would not allow any police officer nor defense personnel to follow me.
Researcher Silence, I will report your conduct to the Director, Director Parvis.
I am entering test site 359 under my status as a Rhode Island operator.
Me too.
And my electrical engineering colleague will accompany me. We will provide medical services free of charge to the oripathy patients on site. Not just for my friend, but for all of you. I do not care what choices Rhine Lab makes in the wake of this. I only know this: treating the infected is constant to the Rhode Island Code of Conduct.
Silence, being a bona fide badass. But anyway, we continue to stage number 2, titled Pioneer Lodge. And it says here, it is being controlled. The blood of technology flows in its veins. So let us begin.
Sir, your insurance premiums for the month.
That's a lot.
I mean, I just paid a few days ago. Then we can only cover your prescription drug costs for the rest of the month, and the policy means you'll need to get a physical at a designated healthcare facility before the first of the month.
They still haven't given me my loan. I've been trying, damn it. If they just take my parents' deli as collateral, we'd be fine.
Sir, the payment is due tomorrow. If you can't pay your premiums on time, then you definitely can't afford follow-up treatment. Considering your health and the social issues around it, your only option would be to move into an infected treatment zone next month.
Infected treatment zone?
Yes. Don't worry, you'll enjoy even deeper discounts on healthcare there.
No, I don't wanna. Going in there, that's a dead end. My life would be over. Sir? Mr. Sunny? Are you feeling alright? I heard how hard you were breathing. It's okay, I'm not going to hurt you. I came here with Dr. Silence, and your man checked us over. We're not carrying any dangerous weapons.
Sorry, I just, force of habit.
No need to apologize. I understand. It's always hard when the darkness creeps in. Ugh! My boy's saying those lines. Ugh. Sorry. For more information, go and I'll link it in the comments, in the description if I remember. Go and look through the operator record for the original Grey. That's a story. Could you come a little closer? Body heat makes things much warmer. You won't go numb this way, even if you've got to sleep. Where's the others? Dr. Silence's medical drone installation has an emergency power source. She's inside the building right now giving Tilopsis a health checkup, and Miss Elena's with them too. Sam's. He's followed your plan. He got all the pioneers in poorer health together. In there. On it. Let me ask you a favor. Don't tell Sam or anyone how I just, I understand. You're their leader. If they thought your strength wasn't holding up at such a key moment, you could lose control of the pioneer team. I'm not trying to say your team isn't united enough, but the darkness usually has a way of pushing on variables. You've got a mile of experience. I'm a Bolivarian. Blackouts were pretty common back in the city I'm from. Bolivar. There's a war there? We never had an easy guess for when the fires of war would stall out back home. Must have been hard for you. Getting yourself out of there, I mean. It was all thanks to my colleagues.
The way I see it, you and your pioneer team are even more amazing. Me? Amazing? Why are you laughing? So those stupid company ads made it all the way down to Bolivar? No, I didn't mean it like that. No matter how you look at it, you got here by your own 2 feet, and the ones who came before you, the immigrants from Victoria, Gaul, and Bolivar, isn't there footprints all together that lit up these vials? You got away with words. I'm just telling it like it is. I'd always wanted to see what the famous Colombian frontier was like. Well, you disappointed? Might be more desolate than your hometown here. No, Mr. Sunny, I think I've learned a lot. For example, the way your power lines are designed really is economical and efficient, just as Mechanist described. Officer, the vehicle's ready. Make sure you've got the right equipment. I saw them with my handmade crossbow. I saw them with handmade crossbows. Let it get a little darker, then send a few drones ahead to the Pioneer living quarters, confirm the position of every hostage and bandit. We follow behind and look for a good opportunity to bust in. Then what about Researcher Silence and that Rhode Island operator? What are you going for here? I'm not sure which side they're on. Is that how you Rhine Labbers work? You've got to pick a side first, no matter what you're doing. We just want to ensure all problems are resolved. That's what we do in defense, officer. And what I do is help people. Listen, I don't care what you guys want to do. My advice is to make sure you don't get in the way of my job either. So you're saying it's Rhode Islanders who saved you? Rhode Island didn't just save my life in the accident, they gave me the chance to continue my education. I'm where I am today, all because Rhode Island changed my life. What a nice company. Any other time and place I would have thought you were running a recruitment drive. Mr. Sunny, if you do have an interest, you can absolutely send your CV to Rhode Island. Me, a pioneer, and looking like a kidnapper now, handing my CV to a company as fine as you're talking about. Pretty funny joke there. Humble yourself all you want, but I can still tell how much potential you got as an engineer. Not to mention your 3 ladies in there. They're all infected, and they still got hired by Rhine Lab. Do you know how tough that is? Yeah, they definitely are outstanding. No, not just outstanding. They're 1 in a million, top of their fields. You got so many infected each year, and only the tiniest number of talents ever get pardoned. But Rhode Island... Yeah, Mr. Gray. You want to tell me Rhode Island never gives terms that harsh when it saves people? Even if I was willing to believe your special kind of faith in the company that saved your life, believe it was ready to go against its own nature, its self-interest, and treat an infected fair and square. You still can't tell me you're not lucky to be one of the chosen ones. And the saps left over, they get round up to sit and wait until they drown in the mud. Their only other choice is to try taking a few steps, face up to bigger danger, and go looking for the tiniest place where just for a moment they can rest their feet. Them and me, we're all in the same boat. No soul to save. Can't even save ourselves. Olivia, do you really think this is going to help? Joyce's brain activity indicators have stabilized somewhat. I've administered some intravenous nervous depressants. That used to be a routine treatment method. The effect isn't especially ideal in this case, but Could her attack have had some other trigger? Isn't she still in serious danger either way? Yes, and as long as we can't treat the cause, she needs a better care environment. That's great, but I'm not even asking about Joyce's condition. You let Gray and the Pioneer leader go on patrol together. That wasn't my decision. It was Gray's own idea. You're the captain. I haven't spent much time on Rhodes landship as you two have, but I know how the company works, Olivia. I'm not trying to criticize you. But if Gray runs into trouble, or we're held up treating Joyce, you won't forgive yourself. Do you believe Sonny would more easily trust Gray or us? Is there a difference? I recall you were unfortunate enough to catch Ripathy in a test accident in Rhine headquarters. Yes. Did it cross your mind at the time that you might never be able to do research again? Of course it did. But the boss, Ferdinand, sent a new contract right out, extending the 3 years to 10, and giving me a 30% raise. You were Employee of the Year. Yeah, not much of a consolation prize, right? All the time I was getting treated at Rhode Island, I ended up writing the director 3 entire conference papers. I understand your perspective. I'm more or less the same. I'm far less purely optimistic than you. I'm worried about the future, and following from that, I was thankful to Parvis and Rhine Lab for a time. But I've never doubted my own abilities, nor what they could do for Rhine Lab in return. For us, Oripathy is a challenge to overcome. It's not going to gnaw our entire lives away. And that's why Gray can do what we can't. Mr. Sonny, I'd like to point out there is a kind of contradiction in what you're saying. For real? You say that the pioneers risk it all in search of the next place to rest their feet. So how do you know we're not about to come across a way out? Sir, the power's back. What the hell? Wait, you son of a gun. That's what you were doing the whole time you were talking to me? Mr. Sonny, if I hadn't run out into the darkness back then, I would have never have met the Rhode Islanders who came before me, carrying the light. Oh, my heart. Trust me, sometimes taking one more step really does mean something. My boy. Even if I'm already standing on the brink, even if you've already jumped off, we've seen you reaching out your hand. You're crying out to us for help. So we'll do everything we can to catch you. No matter what you've been through, it's far from time to give up yet. My boy. Sorry. I have very visceral reactions to characters I like and that have very visually and mentally grown. There's a story I would like to tell at the end of this video, but it has to do with another game. But anyway, that will be at the end of the video. We've got power? Did Gray do it? That's a relief. Joyce is showing a reaction to the light. Trust you to be so focused even now. Ladies. Why are you back alone? Where's Gray? This is the only place with power right now. He's making for the other quarters. You don't trust me, do you? Stay back! Elena? Olivia, you said he wouldn't trust us, but I have even less grounds to trust him. He tricked me and Joyce into coming here, and I've kept quiet on this the whole time. I saw more of them surrounding the labs. All of those pioneers are armed. It's not what you think.
What do I think, huh? You said you didn't want to do anyone dirty. You mean you forgot how Dorothy's been treating you all? You're going to hurt her for your own selfish ends.
Is that... Did you pull an alarm?
I've been planning for a long time. I'm sure the police and my defense colleagues are already on the way. They won't need any drones to pin our position now. Much thanks to Gray for this.
So that's why he got the power back on.
Don't project your own gloomy mind on him. Gray really does want to help you, just like Dorothy and Joyce do. Out of respect for them, I'll consider letting you off the hook. Sir, whatever plans you had before, give them up before it's too late.
Are the drones out? Not yet. Our people are waiting for your order.
Then tell me, what the hell is that thing shining above the site?
So close. It'll all be good soon. That's some goddamn beautiful light. Is it? Thank you. Got me feeling thawed out some, even working with you here. Just a bit left in front now, right? We'll show those megacorpers. Cut whatever you want to us. Cut whatever you want to us, we won't take it sitting down. Not while we're still got our own two hands to get things done.
Oh, wait, something's wrong.
Hold on a second. What is it?
Don't go any further. That light isn't my art.
Doc silence. I'd like to just ask just one more time. Are you really willing to trust a pioneer?
I'm a doctor and a researcher. I'm like my colleagues. In that, I trust the truth. What's the deal outside? What are they all running for? Did you...
No, not on my orders. Get away from me, you bastard! Shit.
The police are probably here to rescue us.
No, stay in here.
What the hell is wrong with you now?
My guess is the thing's come again.
What thing?
Well, the truth I wanted to tell you about.
Elena, keep away from the door.
Sir. Watch out.
Has he been hurt, or is he having an attack?
Stay away from him.
Your teammate is clearly in need of assistance.
Watch what's behind him. Creepy! An irregularly shaped object hangs in the air. Its surface is exceptionally glossy, issuing gentle silver rays all about, and it hovers faintly up and down at its movements. At this moment, as if following some sort of breathing pattern. After rising up behind the pioneer, about 3 seconds pass where it hangs in the air. Then immediately, it slowly rotates its own body, as if curiously assessing every human at the scene.
It's...
Run! Alright, and we continue with the stage's after story. I have to admit, I wasn't expecting that. Up until I saw Saria do it.
Rest assured, I have no intention of going back to prison either.
And that makes cleaning up the scene of the crime here a lot easier. After all, I'm a mechanist. Won't take much time to pull a machine apart. But I'm wondering, how did you know... Pardon? How did you know it was empty inside? I've sparred with this power suit a few times before.
You've been hunted by them too?
In a sense.
They're not out for Saria. If they're showing up here, that goes to show someone really doesn't want us tracking Musis' whereabouts. Who's that someone going to be?
There are many possibilities. I don't contact Musis much. I only know she was participating in some Rhine Lab headed secret experiment before she disappeared. Considering I left Rhine Lab long ago, her divulging as much to me already violated her NDA.
Does Rhine Defense dispatch cutting-edge weapons to eliminate info-leaking employees? Got it. That's non-disclosure too. Rhode Island sure is a friendly enterprise, isn't it, Doctor? Rhode Island isn't just an enterprise.
Musis isn't an ordinary Rhine Lab employee. If they can drive her to the edge, their professionalism has to be on par with mine. This model of power armor made a showing in certain mercenary groups about half a year ago. Neither its defensive material nor its equipped weaponry are outstanding. All in all, it's comparable to military manufactured power armor from 5 years ago. Save for one very notable point, it doesn't demand anything from its user.
Anything? How low do the requirements go?
Any being whose psychological parameters can maintain a standard exercise state satisfy the requirements. I can, you can, and the doctor can.
Yeah, that's low. Also, that's a low blow, thanks, Saria. Only crack troops used to be able to wear power armor. Picture controlling the giant contraption for extended periods of fighting, and not drowning in your own vomit in the process. It genuinely wasn't something anyone could do without training. Ask Durnar, she'll tell you. She says she wore it one time ever, and it made her want to quit the military right then and there. Interesting background for Durnar. I imagine these intervening years have been enough for them to deteriorate the technology a couple dozen times over, and there is no shortage of vets among the mercenaries. But for someone to wear it, that's an invention that might change how whole wars are fought.
Similar power armors are only out there in extremely low numbers, which makes it obvious this high tech is only in its prototype phase. I'm on the trail of its source right now. Getting leads isn't a cakewalk, as with so many other experimental weapons.
Are Columbia's mercenaries that rich?
The mercs may not be clients.
In the eyes of the people who order this stuff, mercenaries and these latest power suits are interchangeable.
It's only experimental. The edge projected from nomadic cities is often the boundary where the rules of civilization no longer apply. The mercenary activity in the Barrens, same as the pioneers, are the most convenient test subjects. Even if an experiment fails and they're disposed of, hardly anyone is going to pursue their whereabouts. And soon enough, the next batch of test subjects gets funneled in.
Don't any of them fight it?
No point in fighting it. The mercenaries are fully aware the new weapons in their hands could explode, but they could also be stronger than whatever their opponents are wielding. Legally, these mutually consenting deals are on the verge of compliance. Mr. Mechanist, have you discovered anything new?
Something feels off. Something's felt off from the very beginning. Nobody in the power armor. How did I not tell at a glance? The mercs could be remote controlling it from a distance, or maybe they set it up with automated programming. But no matter what, there'd be distinct patterns in its behavior.
just like Lancet 2 and Castle 3. Obviously, they're not that flexible. Even the highest grade of automation out of the newest crop of Rhode Island R&D weaponry wouldn't escape my eyes. You want me to believe that a bunch of dumb army-funded mechanists could pull it off? What are you doing? Severing the power armor's central nerves. There's something dripping out of those tubes. A silver liquid. What is this substance? Maybe it's the answer to your question. Did we get away? I haven't run this fast in a long time. What exactly was? Creepy! It followed us. Get down. Getting creepier. This isn't the same as the one as before. There are at least 10, even more actually. They're surrounding the living quarters. They're multiplying. Multiplying? Have you seen those things before? Explain! Dr. Urbica, shouldn't you be the one explaining? What? The ever-loving hell do you mean? Move. This thing's too fast. I don't want to imagine what happens if it touches you. Do you think we should head back inside? Better we don't. Why? That's the building we were in. Under an invisible, massively powerful attack, the Pioneers' hut violently sways, the flimsy windows and doors shattering in quick succession. At practically the same time, the peculiar objects that were hanging in the air above fly straight into the room. Silver liquid oozes through the cracks in every frame at lightning speed, just as a minute creature would smell blood and dig fearlessly into its prey's wounds. But in the next instant, something that defies all comprehension, including the scientists, decides to take place. Did that building just disappear? No, it didn't disappear. It was disintegrated. What? Do you see those things floating in the air? You're trying to tell me that used to be part of the building? I fear that may be the entire building. Just as her voice falls silent, the fragments frozen in mid-air come falling down one after another. Cacophony, dust, detritus everywhere, like the restarting of a clock stopped by force, and everything that existed by all rights returns. Did I get hit by some kind of mind control arts? I mean, if not, then everything I just saw somehow violated every law of physics I know. It's the work of those silver liquids. They dispersed into innumerable minute individuals, dismantled and lifted away what was a section of that room, and then reassembled it. Like there were dozens of invisible hands? Sounds like you ladies are talking about ghosts. Wait, Telopsis! Shit, Joyce was just in that room! Don't tell me she got... Myers, you made it out too. Sir, I got Doc Moore out of there. Joyce! Thank God, she's okay. His wounds aren't severe, but his endurance has been overtaxed. He urgently needs rest. We can't hang around this place. None of the Pioneer quarters are safe anymore. Did you see that? I don't know what you're referring to.
Knock it off. I know you're not that dumb. Did you not feel the tremor just now? Or those floaty things some new model of drone or something? Your Rhiners developed those yourself? Damn it.
I can only tell you that we did not take any action against the site, on your orders.
Who was your boss again? Ferdinand?
Mr. Ferdinand Clooney is the director of Rhine Lab's energy section.
I don't care how your company is structured. Give me your comm. I want to talk to him.
Director Clooney is extremely busy.
Then I'm gonna need you to pass along a message. Ask if he knows what a bastard he is. Director, you have a message sent from observation at the site.
Well, well.
Also, your son appears to need you for something. Should I put him through?
Same play. Tell him I'm busy. Right, send the contents of Elena's most recent report to my terminal.
On it, Director.
How many times have I told you? Don't call me Director.
Sorry, Mr. Clooney.
Speaking of Elena, I gather you get along with her, I gather you get along well with her. Brainstorm for me. What kind of present would she like?
Olivia. I'm sorry. Treating the wounded pioneers has me occupied. Are you hurt? I'm fine. I don't have field experience like you do, but I can take care of myself at least. Even then, shouldn't we be evacuating ASAP? The whole site's in chaos. The pioneers are busy with themselves. We've got a good opportunity to escape. I'm positive the director got my message. He'll send people to fetch us. Once we meet back with our colleagues at Defense, we'll be in a perfect position to wipe out the threat on the site and save Dorothy. Maybe you're right. Maybe? But I can't do it. It's not in my power to leave these people for dead. Just now, they couldn't do it. Leave Joyce for dead. You saw.
Knock silence. We still got a few casualties here.
Drone.
We're not gonna last much longer if they keep this up. I've tried every way to attack it. No dice. Those freaks don't hurt, and they're impossible to break. We don't even got nowhere to hide. Sir, are you telling them all this? They could be getting off on it. Those things above our heads are all mystery weapons sent out by the Fuzz and the Megacorp. They want us trapped in this test site forever. Sam, lay off for now. Everyone, I've got an idea.
Gray, do you have some kind of proposal? Take your time. You were running too fast. Be careful not to bruise yourself.
I've noticed those objects seem to chase after light and human voices. Watch.
They're following your art slide ball away in the air.
It's only temporary. My arts aren't able to trick them for long.
You've done well. You've done all you can. And very well at that. Phototaxis. You've brought up an interesting line of thought. Gray, can you assist in evacuating the nearby pioneers? They trust you. Move them somewhere dark and tell them they need to keep quiet.
Sure, I know what to do. I've done work like this plenty of times with the senior operators. Dr. Silence, you and Miss Elena take care too.
What about us then? Make some signs of movement. The larger the better. It has to cover the sounds of the other footsteps at minimum.
On it. Sam, call 5 of 6 guys over if you can. Take whatever gear makes the most noise. Are you seriously going along with them? You got a better idea? Whatever you say, boss. Draw every silver body to our location. So we act as bait, and then what? For now, stall as long as we can. And then come to the laboratories.
That voice.
Dorothy? Yes, it's me, Dorothy. I did a quick rig on the laboratory PAs. I hope I didn't scare you. Are you alright? I'm completely safe. You don't need to worry about me. The laboratory's buildings are sturdier, and they will help you resist the threat. Everyone, be you Pioneer team, friends, or Rhine co-workers, the laboratory's doors are open to you.
Alright, and we continue over now to the training stage, and obviously here we're just going to include the name and the description of the thing. So, titled Test Site Hallway. Weakness is difficulty. Help is imprisonment. Interesting statement, but anyway, we will continue on to the third and final stage for today's narration episode. Titled Power Armor. The sleeping danger will eventually awake. Do not ignore it simply because it has not yet revealed itself. So let us begin. What is the nature of Originium arts? The spire casters of Lethanian and the academicians of Columbia each developed their own separate theories. Of course, both are simply packaging for the benefit of their respective adherents. Regardless of any differences in terminology, the two theories describe the same relationships. Originium arts involve the caster exerting influence on external matter through a medium, i.e., an arts unit. The arts unit receives and encodes the caster's neural activity, releasing it as energy that interacts with matter or its component particles, resulting in the desired effect. Modern arts units are the product of advances in both theory and industry, with complex energy conversion circuits at their core. Clearly, not all Originium products are suited for this purpose. However, we cannot ignore how the infected are able to use arts without an arts unit, using their infected organs to similar effect. We've all heard the terrifying rumors of Lethanian spire casters using one or more infected as a medium for casting, in effect turning them into massive energy conversion circuits. Of course, such blatant ethical violations would never be allowed in Columbia. What about safe artificial implants that could serve the same purpose though? Just as those who've lost their legs in accidents can walk again with prosthetics, or those born blind can see with cornea transplants, those without the ability to use Originium arts may one day harness the same power. I'm seeing some shocked faces in the audience. Let me emphasize that this is all hypothetical for now. But I was invited here today by my alma mater to talk about the research that our institute is currently conducting. And ever since I was a student, I've wanted to do more for Columbia using Originium arts for everyone in this rapidly evolving society. Lethanian distributes social resources according to Originium arts assimilation. Here in Columbia, however, we believe that all men are created equal. From the address to the Three Mounts Institute of Technology by Loken Williams, founder of the Loken Water Tank Laboratory. Composition analysis failed. Liquid does not match any known compound. Look. White crystals form at her fingertips, spreading to cover the entire hand and forearm. It is a scene that you just saw,
and which is as familiar to you from combat reports as from your own experience. Calcification. Saria does not answer. Suddenly, she raises her hand, and you find her fist in front of your nose, faster than you can blink. You hear the sound of mineral impacting metal, and know that mechanists blocked the attack for you. Before you can catch your breath, you feel something cold touch your neck. Saria's other hand never moved, but there is a calcified blade at your throat nonetheless. You instinctively hold your breath. Explain yourself, Saria.
This is the quickest way to explain. My Originium Arts reconstructs matter containing calcium at a molecular level. This is what you call calcification. I can control the animal form this way using my mind, without the need to move. No radio signals or programs. They are linked. They are like an extension of my limbs.
Do you mean the power armor?
A power armor is nothing more than a power armor. This silvery liquid is the key. It's the neurotransmitter of the power armor, linking the brainwaves of the operator to the machine.
Like an arts unit?
More than that, I should say.
An intuitive explanation.
Sorry if I caused any discomfort.
I would not have gone for the doctor's head were it not for the gesture to me.
Good thing we know each other so well. There's someone I want to see. As far as I know, he's the first to actually use this prototype power armor. I would like you to come. With Mechanist. You saw them go into a bar near the university?
Yes, ma'am, all three of them.
I can guess who it is Saria's looking for. We just saw him last week.
Didn't he agree not to meet anyone from Rhine Lab?
Is Saria still Rhine? I don't think she knows the answer herself.
Should we stop them?
No. I'm curious how much Saria knows. It's about time we had a talk. And one more thing. Log Williams is a graduate of the Three Mounts Institute of Technology.
Logan Williams? Who is that?
I guess time really does fly. One accident and everyone forgets the brightest star of academia. Saria and the control of Rhine Lab went to the same school. Social gatherings in Columbia's tech sector are basically all TIT reunions. I wish I could have spent some time at that school myself. Let's go. Maybe it's not too late to join the fun.
The last firebomb. Throw it far as you can. Here goes. With me. Get inside. We got everybody? Phew. Yes, sir. All present and accounted for.
What about the monsters?
Not yet. The flask's still burning. Looks like it's got their attention.
Thank you, everyone. We have all the injured.
What's next, Doc Silence? Sir, the door. It won't open. What the hell is going on?
You locked the door, Doc. I've never been to this site before.
Dr. Rubrica?
The lab doors are automatic.
But it's locked. Doctor?
What are you complaining about? Aren't you afraid of those silver constructs outside?
How are we supposed to know if you're trying to keep them out or keep us in? Maybe you planned all this.
Are you joking? Huh, you're saying I somehow made you kidnap me.
Watch it. You are a prisoner, don't forget. Sam. You're the one who said those white coats are fooling us. No, be quiet for a sec. You hear it, Doc Silence? A rustle, like something slithering on the ground.
Do not stop, and do not look back. Push open the third door on your right.
It opened.
Do not be afraid. I will protect you. As always.
Test results for the latest batch of transmitter? Yes, sir. In a laboratory environment, of course. A 1.7% increase in efficiency. A massive breakthrough in 1 month. Excellent work. Do you need more time? 10 days? 20? Sorry, whoa. Oh, right. For a second I forgot who is talking. Was thinking very wildly in my head, like, who was that again? Anyway, come now, don't frighten the youths like that. No wonder the staff so fear the accolades of the Director of Energy. Come to boast about your people skills, Parvis. Just passing through. Back to your lab now, poor little fellow. I'll keep your director company for a bit. Alright, okay. Thank you. So quick on his feet. Such is you, Faye. Gone in a flash. I don't see you outside your lab often, except for directors' meetings. What brings you here exactly? Where do I even start? The brain doesn't spin so fast at my age. You were born with white hair, Caprine. Oh, now I remember. Do you know where Muses is? We made a bet. She wagered 10 boxes of black bean tea from hydroponics in Ecological. A bet? 2 days ago, she told me that you were planning to rid Ferdinand Clooney's name of the director title.
Sonny? Why did you stop?
We can't do this.
Do what?
We can't follow that voice.
The voice? You mean Director Franks? Sonny, Director Franks knows this lab better than anyone. Better than Elena or myself. She knows where we'll be safe.
That's why I don't trust her. Don't you see? She's pulling our strings, guiding every step, drilling into our minds. She walked us straight into her cage, and we're going along with it.
Please calm down, Sonny. Getting excited could exacerbate your condition.
Let me go. Get away from me.
Olivia, are you okay? I'm fine. That's enough, Pioneer. I would have left you outside if Olivia didn't insist we help you.
Like we wanted to be here with you in the first place.
I don't understand at all. Dorothy was so kind to you.
Flashback.
How's your son, Dirk?
Not so good, Director Franks. The doctor says he needs an operation. But...
Is it a cost?
Nothing gets past you, huh? I joined the Pioneer team to try to help my boy. This is my first project. We don't have much money. I shouldn't have spent any on a rip-off medicine. If only I knew my son had heart trouble. There's no hope for me, but him, he's still so little.
Don't worry, Dirk. I know a way. Here's the best
heart surgeon I know. Take your son and find her. The best heart surgeon? In 3 months? Must be awfully pricey. She's an old acquaintance of mine. Tell her Dorothy Franks sent you, and she'll give you a discount. Really? Don't tell anybody. It'd be bad for her reputation if word got out that she gives discounts. Won't tell a soul. Cross my heart. I gotta go. Thank your friend for me. Why are you standing there? The coffee's getting cold. So much the better. It'll hurt less if I spill it on you. Are you worried about me or the coffee? You can smile and plead all you want, but I'm not lending you lunch money. Looks like it's plain rice for the rest of the month then. A director of Rhine Lab begging for food from a low-level researcher. Can you imagine the scandal? Originium art section is the poorest of the 5 after all. I'm not Ferdinand. I don't have sponsors lined up waiting to dress me in gold from head to tail. At least the boss has good taste. Back on topic. It's not like I don't know the classmate you're talking about. She probably couldn't wait to double her fee when she heard your name. You're willing to pay anything for your pioneer friends. No wonder people take advantage of you. Laugh all you want. Not like I can do anything about it. I'm going back to my lab. Maybe finishing this experiment will help stuff your wallet a little. She did so much for you and pushed me into keeping it secret. How could you do this to her? Dr. Erbica, you're Dorothy Franks' friend. You see only what she wants you to see. You don't know what terrible thing she's hiding under the surface. Flashing back again. Director Franks, my boy's surgery went great. The doctor says he'll be out of the hospital by next week. Fantastic. Would you like to go home and see him? Go home? Back to the city? But I'm infected. I can't enter a nomadic city on my own. Unless you have a new contract that pays for the insurance. You're looking at a chance, Dirk. One that can change your destiny. Sign this consent form and you'll be able to go home. Of course, No rush. You have 24 hours to think about it. This isn't a trick. Nothing in the fine print. I've circled the important points. Make sure you understand the risks. Come and find me if you have any questions. Dirk. Sir, what are you doing here? You sign up for... Give me the consent form. Why? No. Don't you get it? She's stuffing you into a cage to experiment on. So what? Director Frank says she's giving me a chance. When was the last time we heard the word chance? I don't need 24 hours. I won't wait another minute for a chance to see my boy. That's how she got Dirk. Not just Dirk. Ellen, Gail, Sophia. She knew everyone's weaknesses. No one could say no to her. That's Dorothy Franks. Those silver creatures were her... The silver constructs? They're... You know nothing. How much do the two of you know about her, about our pursuers? One of you calls them creatures, the other uses the word constructs. I'm certain I heard correctly. My people are renowned among Liberi for our sense of hearing. I'm just guessing. Same here. At least you agree on something. Never mind that. No matter what you think of Dorothy at this moment, she's helping us escape. Let's follow her instructions for now. Maybe a pursuers on the other end of the corridor will help you collect your thoughts.
And as we deal with the pursuers, we will go into the after story. This smell is familiar. Too bad there isn't work to be done. Too bad there's still work to be done. I miss the sensation of alcohol rushing through my body. I've heard your special drink is machine oil. You're listening to Blaze, huh? She's always complaining about all the rumors there are about her, and complaining that I take things too rough in her weapon test sessions. Machine oil is the name of my favorite cocktail. Regular patrons of Just One More Pint know it well. Have you found your man, Saria?
He spends 20 hours a day here. 2-3 months sunshines, please.
You don't look like someone who drinks during work hours.
I'm not. I've never been one to let alcohol interfere with my brain, regardless of the hour.
Live a little, Saria.
Both of these are yours. And you'd better pull yourself together, because I'm not buying a third.
What? Have you gone homeless too after leaving Rhine?
How many rings I'm willing to buy for you depends on how much your information is worth to me.
Well then, spit it out. What do you want to know?
See the liquid in this test tube? It's not for drinking.
Well then, why are you asking me?
Show me your right hand.
What are you doing?
Your right hand, but you're holding the glass with your left. You're right-handed. Does your right arm still hurt from the subdermal arts unit implant?
The what? Saria. Who's the helmet and the hood? Rhine Engineering? Volmert Koczynski. Maybe one of those places whose names we dare not speak. Did they change their minds? Decide to shut me up forever?
I promise you, I have nothing to do with any of the organizations you mentioned. Not now, not never.
Promise. Words like that ain't even worth the booze in front of me.
Doctor, you may not be willing to talk with us here.
It's you I don't trust, especially not that getup. You reek of the Colombian tech elite. Know what I mean? The hood can stay, I feel better about you. Why don't you take a break, Mechanist? Alright, I'll be over there. Saria, you've picked up so many tabs for me. Let me give you some honest advice. Don't dig any deeper, if you don't want to end up like me. This test tube of yours, that power armor, you're biting off more than you can chew.
Yes, more than even you can chew.
Do you understand what it is you've just said? Of course. It was you who reminded me. I'm not senile yet. This is a very serious accusation. Is it now? An accusation? Oh, the accusation that you have something to do with Muses' disappearance. Or the one that you're trying to seize control of Rhine Lab? You need stronger evidence than that to blackmail me. Relax, old friend. How long have we worked together? 10 years or 10 years and then more? Did you think I was the type to come and chat with an old friend carrying a bunch of papers, voice recordings and legal drafts? Just because you did it to me doesn't mean I intend to return the favor.
Colombians like to put everything on the negotiation table. But you forget, I am a cunning old Italian goat who likes to play dumb. What exactly do you want? Just passing by, and to encourage an old friend. I don't understand. I thought you were on Control's side. You don't understand? We're researchers, after all. There's always more we don't understand when we do. That's part of the fun. You're a lot like Kirsten. Too young and too smart. You're always trying to fly high, not realizing how difficult it is for the others to keep up with you. All I want is to be left in peace to do my research, and not be dragged along the ground. It may only take a couple of years of your administration for the military and big capital to pick Rhine Lab to the bone, but it won't happen tomorrow. I'm surprised you have such a high opinion of me. You'll need to deal with the Director of Defense first, however, in order to get to Kirsten. I didn't think Defense had a director. Look at you, your memory failing at such a tender age. Kirsten never accepted Saria's resignation. I never understood how you think, Saria. No one talks about that ever since everything went down at Loken, my old employer. They all chose to cut ties, no matter how much or how little they knew about the experiments. That's what smart people do. Does that mean you're not smart? Tongue still as sharp as ever, huh? I would run if I could. They won't let me. You ask if my right hand hurts? Of course it does. But did you think they would let me live this long if I didn't give up my hand and become a test subject? I was the goddamn surgeon. Even I had no idea what they wanted me to implant. Still capable of anger, I see. Looks like alcohol hasn't completely numbed you. You've changed, Saria. I could see you were angry when you first came to me a few years ago. Oh. You weren't exactly bearing it in your face, but I could see it. I felt the same way when I learned what kind of experiments I was involved in. There are other ways if you want to take down Rhine Lab. You're one of the founders. Anybody after Rhine will be queuing up to take your hand. Taking down Rhine won't solve anything. Kill one beast, only for its flesh and blood to feed you yet more beasts. The fall of Loken water tanks is proof. Excuses. You've gone all over the place for Rhine. You've opposed them on the surface, but what you're actually doing is cleaning up their messes. When I saw you, I knew the rumors were true. You were willing to go to jail for Rhine Lab. The Mansfield incident? Not the smartest thing to deal in rumors. The fall of Hydebro was a headache for the Director of Energy, wasn't it? The loss of a key supplier has thrown a wrench into his request for a new laboratory site. He lost a few major orders, didn't he? It was a setback to whatever experiments he had going. It wasn't me who sent the Hyde brothers to jail. You played a big part. I know the rules. With the Hyde brothers locked up, the prosecutors no doubt wanted to use them to hook bigger fins. Why was there no mention of Rhine Lab in the news? Why does Rhine always emerge unscathed from these things? The truth is, you've been following the trail, cleaning up all Rhine's little mistakes left along the way. That's why you came looking for me. You wanted to know whether or not Rhine had anything to do with this reagent. Deep down, you're still Rhine's Director of Defense. You still think it's your job to pick up after them. There's something at Rhine that you can't let go of. Or maybe it's someone. Some sentiment. Looks like you do have emotions after all, Saria. At the end of the day, we're all flesh and blood. Flashback. The subject is out of control. Restraints have failed. Not getting any neural signs from the test subject. Attempting sedative injection. Negative. The subject is activating originium arts. A monster! It's a huge monster! No, the flames are manifesting. Get the director on the line now. Fire. The fire. Ifrit, where are you? Ifrit. Saria? She felt no heat in the fiery corridor. The eyes of the Woovier were harder than rock, colder than steel. She could not read the emotions within them. To this day, she does not know what she saw in the Woovier's eyes. Are you okay, Doc Silence? You've gotta be tired. You've been taking care of Doc Moore and the rest of us. I'm wicked sorry I acted like that and almost got you hurt. Rhode Island isn't like Rhine Lab. You and Gray have been so good to us, and you asked for nothing for it. Is that true? I'm no saint, Sonny. I was a Rhine Lab researcher. My experiments almost wiped out an entire city block, countless people along with it. Huh? There was a girl. She was close to me, almost like family. She was the subject of the experiment. What happened to her? She's still alive, but only alive. All these years, I've tried and failed to give her back the life she should have had. A normal life. But I couldn't stop the situation from deteriorating. Don't blame yourself. I'm sure you never meant to hurt her. Funny, that's how I comforted myself in the past. I didn't know. It was others who were truly to blame. But was that really so? As the overseer in the field, did I really not know the risks of our research? The answer is clear. Either I was blinded by the tantalizing promise of a breakthrough, or I was far less a researcher than I thought I was. And that's harder to do than to hate someone else. Perhaps the one I truly could not forgive was... I never knew your story. It's more than just a story. It was why I came here. Aren't you trying to save your friend? Of course, I have to save Joyce. But I want to save you and Elena and Director Franks. I want to stop all this before we get to the point of no return. You believe me? Like I said, I believe in the truth, in what I see for myself. And I recall that I've seen something like it. The silver things following us, they look like the results of originium arts gone awry. By the way, I had Ben bring you something. It should be on your desk now. Ben? You forgot again? You told him to have tea with me. He talked so much that he nearly drank my entire stash. I don't remember you owing me anything. Oh, that wasn't what you said when I just completed my chimeric organism experiments. The diabolic experiments. Glad you remember. My student used an anesthetic of her own design during the final phase. The shocking results. 2 shocking results. Silence was such a smart girl. I miss her. After the project was suspended, I reviewed the data logs and found that it was no coincidence. What data? You're not the only one who digs through the trash. You mean Loken water tank? Those data were... Let's not dwell on clerical matters, shall we? Loken Williams was a genius. Reviewing his data made me realize why I was taking the long way around. I was trying to increase the subject's cell activity in order to increase sync rate with the energy contained within the embedded shards. Who would have thought that suppressing the subject's neural responses would be the way to go? Suppress? I made some small changes to your formula based on this conjecture. I hope you'll forgive the initiative. You're a sly one, old goat. Why the irritation? I simply offered a gift before you asked for it. Is it really so disappointing to lose a weapon against me? It had better be of use to my experiments. I promise you'll like it. Oh, and if you're successful, could you pick up the tab on the 10 boxes of black bean tea that Muses owes me? I would have won that bet, if not for my formula. Back on topic. The reagent. I had a sniff when you took it out. Yes, it's the exact same smell. It's the ghosts of the ones who died on my operating table back to haunt me. Thicker and more numerous. Who? Who, you ask? Who salvaged the most from the ruins of Loken water tank? Time to go home, Saria. Rhine Lab. See, you knew the answer all along. You already met the Tin Man. He helped you find me. Who was the main sponsor of the diabolic experiments? Who was Loken water tank's investor? Who had the means to hire multiple labs to engage in similar experiments at the same time? How irresistible did the order have to be to make those labs put their petty patent feuds aside and sit down to share data? And whose hands did the surviving subjects pass through before they were sent out of Columbia? Do you mean... Looks like a pretty lively conversation. I hope I didn't miss too much. And this will be where we are gonna end for today. I would have loved to add the top secret thing at the bottom right here. I believe the way this works, you need both these completed to unlock it. But I guess I can add the description of the encrypted experiment log 1 and log 2 to this narration, even though something will unlock once I complete, as it says here, stage 5, which I haven't yet. And considering that it requires stage 5, on the next episode we'll look what this is. Well, after this recording I'm gonna pretty much know what this is already, but on the next recording we will go over this when we complete stage 5, because I have a dumb feeling this whole thing will, whatever it unlocks, be connected to whatever happens or gets explained during that section. But, as it says here on log number 1, science has always been beyond reason. When power armors block the way in the hallways to the test site, the first step to starting research is to carefully observe and deal with test subjects, along with anything that may cause a reaction. This one unlocked after completing stage 3 with 3 stars, and
if you defeat at least one R-31 heavy power armor, and we'll get to those in a second. But this one, like I said, unlocks when completing the next stage there. So, before we continue now, let's add a couple of unit descriptions here, because this has already been hinted at, so let's go over them. First, we have the Rhine Defense members, which is just guard personnel of Rhine Lab, with company issued gear, yada yada, nothing special there. But then we have these liquid metal looking things, and it says Door-1 failure, a product of Dorothy's failed experiments, an irregularly shaped silver object emanating a soft glow like a slumbering dreamland. The next one, titled Door-2 replica. Again, a product of Dorothy's repeated experiments. She was fascinated by its beauty when it was first created. And then furthermore, we have here a experimental power armor. An unpiloted power armor, it is able to function without a pilot, but nevertheless maintains high agility. I will question the high agility until I see them move at super speed, because those things move slow as hell. And here we have another one, the R-31 heavy power armor. A model that appeared around half a year ago among some mercenary groups. Its performance is on par with mass-produced military models from 5 years ago. Rhine Lab's energy section cooperates with many parties and continues to look for ever more opportunities. And that will be essentially it for today's episode. Next time we'll continue from stage 4 and onwards and see what's beyond. In general, this narration is probably gonna be the usual 3-parter, as it is kind of normal at this point with any side story I do on the channel. Well, with the majority, at least the vast majority. And I need a break. I'm starting to lose my voice after this long recording session. But yeah, anyway, like I said at the beginning of the video, if you are new to the channel and liked what you heard so far, please like and subscribe if you want to. And in general, I hope you have a fantastic day wherever you are. If you are pulling for Dorothy, I hope you have as much luck as I did. If you haven't seen that video, it will probably appear on screen, at least when this episode goes up. If not, it is literally the video right before this one on the channel, so you will not be missing it. But outside of that, like I said, I hope you have a fantastic day. Good luck on your pulls for Dorothy, and I will see you all in the next part. Until then, bye bye.